Federal politics now, and the opposition claims the collapse of the price of carbon in Europe's trading scheme will blow a $7 billion hole in the budget in the future. Joining me from Canberra, Sky News political reporter David Lipson. And David, take us through this.
Yes, well, what we saw overnight in Europe is something of a major slump in the price of carbon, which ended up with it being about 30% lower than it was the previous day. And what that now means is that the price of carbon in Europe is, well, the carbon tax at the moment, which is set at $23 a tonne, is about 5.5 times greater than the price of carbon in Europe. And so the coalition is now, well, you could say, shifting tactics somewhat from saying that the carbon tax in the future, and then when we go to a floating trading scheme, that is going to have such a huge impact on business and homes that we're going to see businesses collapse and the like. They're now shifting somewhat to say, well, what we're going to see when we go to a floating price is a big hole blown in the federal budget in the future. Joe Hockey and Greg Hunt spoke to the media here in Canberra a short time ago. Here's what the Shadow Treasurer said.
In 2015-16, the government has budgeted $29 a tonne, and yet today in Europe it's trading at less than $4 a tonne. If the European price today is to be applied to the budget, then there will be a budget hole of at least $7 billion in just 1 year. $7 billion in just 1 year.
Treasury has forecast that the price on carbon in 2015-16 will be about $29 a tonne. But this morning, the Climate Change Minister, Greg Combet, said that figure will be revised in this budget. We also heard today from the BCA, the Business Council of Australia boss, Tony Shepherd, at the Press Club here in Canberra. He believes that the $23 figure, which is now applied to carbon, is way out of kilter. Let's hear what he said.
We certainly need to encourage people and industry to move to a lower carbon environment, but we can't do that at the expense of Australian industry and competitiveness. And certainly having a carbon price of $23 a tonne when the European price is €3 a tonne is ridiculous.
Tony Shepherd also said that about 120 of the BCA members do actually support a floating price on carbon, which is what the policy is for this Labor government going forward.
David, we've seen today the Prime Minister continuing her Gonski school funding crusade.
That's right, and she'll hold a community cabinet in Melbourne tonight. Today she's been campaigning in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, the seat of Deakin, which is very much a marginal seat and one that could be in danger of being lost to the coalition at the federal election in September. She was speaking to school students there earlier today and also trying to apply some gentle pressure on the premiers to sign up to the Gonski funding deal when they meet with her this Friday in Canberra.
Premiers and Chief Ministers can come along and sign on Friday. If they don't, we will keep working beyond Friday. We are willing to sign with any state or territory that's willing to start this change with us. By the 30th of June, I certainly want to see right around the nation that Premiers and Chief Ministers have said that they will improve Australia's schools.
The Victorian Premier is one of those that has been pretty receptive to the idea of this Gonski funding plan, although he certainly hasn't exactly agreed to it as yet. The most opposition continues to come from WA. Colin Barnett saying very clearly yesterday that he won't be signing this deal in its current form.